All right, welcome everybody to the Green Schools Quest Mentor Info session. This is our second session. We've got two more to go. So if you're watching a recording of this, feel free to reach out to me. My info is on the screen, drogers@mobot.org, and my cell phone is listed here as well. Feel free to call or text. I'm a very casual person, so feel free to reach out with any questions, especially if you're watching a recording and had a question and couldn't ask during the live presentation. So I want to just give you kind of a brief overview of what we're going to cover in the next 40-ish minutes, and or less. We're going to talk about the program, kind of what Show Me Green Schools is and what the Green Schools Quest is. We'll do a brief timeline. I'll explain kind of the type of projects that happen, and what a mentor actually does and does not do. And then give you kind of an idea of who has participated in the past. And we'll end with how to answer, or so how to register, and then a Q&A. This is one of our participants. A school used a tower garden to grow indoors. They didn't have access to an outdoor garden, so they started growing their own vegetables indoors, and they were so overwhelmed with how many vegetables they got. They had to really figure out, like, what are we going to do with this produce? And they ended up partnering with a local grocery store, and they started selling their produce for a fundraiser. And then they also came up with recipes to send home with people who bought their fresh produce. And of course, the kiddos got to bring their fresh produce home as well. All right, so an overview of our program. So we are Show Me Green Schools as a full organization. We are co-run by the Missouri Gateway Green Building Council and the Missouri Environmental Education Association. Both of those organizations are local chapters of national organizations. So Missouri Gateway Green Building Council is part of the U.S. Green Building Council, and we focus entirely on the built environment and how to make sure that buildings are sustainable. And MIA, the Missouri Environmental Education Association, is part of the NAAEE, which is the National Association for Environmental Educations. And every state has like a slightly different acronym if they are part of that NAAEE. And so together we run this suite of programs. And so these are just for Missouri and Southern Illinois. And we have three programs. The Green Schools Quest is considered kind of our entry level program. And then we push schools to kind of move up the ladder into Missouri Green Schools, and then hopefully and ultimately apply for the national award, which is the U.S. Department of Education Green Ribbon School. So today we're talking just about the Quest. If you have any questions about those other programs, I am happy to answer them. We do not use a formal mentoring process in the other programs, but we do rely a lot on local experts who know about school sustainability. We do a lot of professional development in those programs, and we're constantly needing local folks to share their expertise. But for now, I want to talk about the Quest. So in the Quest, we basically have a school leader who signs up a group of students. The school leader can be anything from a classroom teacher to a school nurse to a principal to a librarian. We have anybody who basically works at the school. We've even had parent volunteers who have signed up their school, and that's perfectly fine. And it can be as tiny as one little after school club, or it could be an entire grade level. It could be the whole school. It really depends on the school community. And the whole idea behind so much variety is that we are trying to meet schools where they're at. And we know that not every school is going to have an after school program. Not every school is going to have time during their school day to cover this kind of stuff. So we want to make sure that we are extremely inclusive. And we want every school, no matter what their schedule is or their starting point, we want you to be able to participate. So the school leader signs up, and then the mentors sign up, and I pair the schools and the mentors together. I'll talk a lot about the pairings in just a moment, but we have an extensive way of pairing the schools and the mentors so that we are maximizing both the content knowledge of the mentor and the interest level of the school. The students, hopefully, are the ones who determine the project focus. Sometimes there is a school who signs up that says, we already have a project in mind because our school is going through a renovation or our district has a new initiative. And that's fine. We hope that ultimately the school project is student-led and student-driven because we know that students are way smarter than adults, to be honest, and they have way better ideas than we do. So we want kids to be at the forefront of these projects. Then the mentors and the school leaders support the students during the research, planning, and implementation of a project. We, the staff at Show Me Green Schools, provide professional development to the teachers throughout the year in a learning series called Connect on the Quest. And this year, all of our Connect on the Quest events will be about the theme of water. So we'll be bringing in guest speakers who will touch on all the different aspects of water. And then in March, the school leaders submit the final project to a panel of national judges. So our judges come from all over the country. We have a couple of international judges every year. These are people who are sustainability experts, some of whom are related to schools and some of whom are not. And the idea here is that we want people who are completely blind judges to the region of Missouri and Southern Illinois so that there is no bias and that there's really a blank slate for a judging panel to say who should win. We have winners across grade levels and specific content categories. We have about 10 awards per year. And so it's a lot of awards to give out, but we also have a lot of schools participate. So we try and really be inclusive here. Then every year we have an annual Green Schools event where we celebrate every school who participated, and we also announce the winners at the awards ceremony. It is a very fun event, which I will talk about later. Actually, Molly knows all about it because Molly hosted us last year at the Missouri History Museum, and it was spectacular. And then on top of all of those amazing things, if a school wins, then we also offer the individual winning school a celebration of their choice. So we will come to their school, we'll do a grade level assembly or a whole school assembly or a school board meeting where basically they get to decide how they would like to celebrate their victory. Our timeline here is this is just an overview so that you kind of have an idea of where this program goes. By August 30th, we need all of our mentors to register so that we know how many people we can pair up with their schools. The schools have a different deadline of September 15th, mostly because schools start in August. And if you have ever worked in a school, you know back to school is crazy. It is so intense, and we really want to let teachers focus on their schools in August. And then by September 15th, they can really start to decide what they want to do with their school year instead of just playing catch up all the time. Then by September 30th, I pair the schools and the mentors together. And then on September 30th, we have the Green Schools Quest Kickoff. This is a virtual event. All of our events are virtual because we are all the way across the state and into Southern Illinois, and we want everyone to participate. So we have a virtual kickoff where I kind of run through the program and explain the mentor relationship and make sure that teachers understand what the mentor is there for. And then we also give the teachers and the mentors time to connect during that first kickoff so that you start the year strong. Then October, November, and December are really just the schools and the mentors working together with the students to research, plan, and implement a project. You can also see that in October and December, we have our first two Connect on the Quest events. And in November, we offer a mentor meetup where we bring the mentors together so that the mentors can decide, kind of talk amongst themselves and say, hey, I need resources on a project for bat populations in northern Missouri. And I don't have anything. Who knows something? And this is where the friendly part of the friendly competition of the Green Schools Quest comes into play. Because yes, while we are competing for prizes, we know that this is to benefit schools and kids. And so we are all very, very friendly with our resources and we want everybody to achieve something great. And so we always help each other out. This photo I love so much. It's from City Garden Montessori. This is one of our schools who has participated for years and years. And last year's project, they wanted to focus on reducing their carbon footprint. So they started a bike to school campaign. And they did a lot of research on where their students live, how far away they lived. Is it feasible to ride a bike to school? Is it safe to ride a bike to school? And if not, what are the barriers? And then they came up with a plan to address how to carpool or how to create bike carpools. And they had actual parents who would sit at certain stop signs to like make sure that traffic stopped. It was really, really cool. But they did a lot of data analysis in addition to this physical biking to school project. January and February is a continuation of the projects. And then by March, that's when the schools really start to focus on finalizing their submission. So they have an entire submission cover sheet that they have to turn in, and they have to turn in a written report and a digital presentation. And we are purposefully open-ended on what they have to submit. We do give them a scoring rubric to go off of because that's what the judges will use, and we provide that rubric to them. But the rubric keeps it general because we want schools to be able to express their projects as effectively as possible. And we feel that giving them too much structure and too many requirements really limits them. And so we allow them in their written report and in their digital presentation to really just kind of explain their project and showcase what their kiddos did. This is a photo from one of our early childhood centers, obviously, if you can tell by the age of our students here. This is Flance Early Childhood Center in the city of St. Louis, and they are working on making special little pieces for their sensory garden. Flance has an amazing outdoor space that they use every single day. It's really inspiring, and their students were really wanting stuff that they could look at, feel, taste, touch, and so they did many art projects, and they also changed the landscape of their plants themselves to make the plants more of a sensory garden using native plants, which was very, very cool. Then in April, we schools start to work on creating like what you see here in this picture, this lovely trifold board. It's very similar to like a science fair style to explain their projects. And then the schools come to the annual Green Schools event and they get to explain what they did for their project. This is an amazing opportunity for kiddos to really dive deep into their public speaking skills and into their presentation styles. It's a great skill to even just create the board itself. The students get to do that. And so I love seeing all the different age levels of what, a preschooler can produce versus a senior in high school. And it's very inspiring. This particular photo here is of Brittany Woods Middle School. They were one of our first place winners last year, and they were explaining their project, the timeline, how they decided on the topic, and how they pursued all of the different elements. Their project focused on showing a film called Farming While Black, which is based on the book Farming While Black. And they discussed how local farmers in their area were mostly white and that Black farmers were not really getting the opportunity that they needed financially to sell their product and their produce. And so Brittany Woods ended up actually financially supporting the farmers from the film and began basically changing their cafeteria style of bringing in local produce instead of shipping in extraordinarily far away produce. So reducing their carbon footprint and supporting a local minority farming group, which was really incredible. So at that annual event, we announce winners, students present their products, and we also just celebrate. We have free food. It's very fun. There's usually about 250 to 350 people that come. It's a very large event and very, very fun. Everybody is so happy. It's also a hybrid event because we have people from all over the state. So we offer a virtual option as well. And then in May, like I said, we celebrate the individual winners, however they choose to be celebrated. All right. I am going to run through this quickly and then I'll come back for questions. So if you guys have questions, just put them in the chat or keep them in your mind. The types of projects that we typically see. This is basically the main 6 categories of projects that most of our schools fall into. We have a lot of waste reduction projects, which is awesome because as much as recycling was pushed in the 1990s, it really fell off. Recycling companies are, few and far between. Schools often lose their recycling contracts because of mixed materials or, their waste is not sorted properly. And so it sounds crazy, but we are really pushing for recycling in schools again, even though this was a hard fought battle in the 90s and it has really gone by the wayside. So a lot of schools take up waste reduction projects, and especially composting has become very popular. Our youngest students often take on a composting project. I think because Preschoolers love to play in the dirt and they love vermicomposting with the worms. It's amazing what they can do. This year, we know we will see a lot of water conservation and mitigation projects because our theme of the year is water. So we'll talk about water in just a second, but we have seen lots of water projects in the past as well. Social and environmental justice projects are extremely common. It's amazing because kids will, research and find out about an environmental injustice that has happened in their school community or in their neighborhood community and immediately want to take action because kids are amazing and really special people. So they see a problem and they immediately want to fix it. And so sometimes they take their projects to create that social justice or environmental justice action, and it's very exciting and inspiring, and also hard to achieve. Some schools take on very practical and very structured projects about renewable power and LED lighting. A lot of schools take advantage of the tax credits or the rebates that come with installing LED lighting. But a lot of schools, what they do, their students do the lighting audit for their district. And maybe they don't install the LED lighting, but they present to their school board or to their principal about the savings, the cost savings analysis that the students can do themselves, which is very cool. Last year, our theme was biodiversity and wellness. So those final two categories, we had a lot of projects about health and wellness of both people and planet, and how to protect and conserve the biodiversity of our planet and the school's campus. And so those two categories were extremely popular last year. There is a link here, and I will send you this PowerPoint as well. This link will take you to a video of all of the projects in 2024 and 2025. It's about an 11-minute video, so I will not play it right now, but I do want to make sure you guys know that that's out there so you can just kind of get a better sense of where schools take these projects. So, as I mentioned, this upcoming school year, our theme is water. It's a really exciting and nuanced theme because water can be taken a million different ways. I've listed a couple of project ideas that we know schools are going to take on. The first and top category, we know a lot of schools are simply going to want to research and understand how to care for water. And so a lot of projects this year will be less hands-on and more let's find resources and understand how and why water works the way it does. Especially in Missouri and Southern Illinois, understanding how the Mississippi has been cared for millennia by indigenous populations, and how the current generation, we can learn from that, and also we need to learn from it so that we do not destroy this ultimate water source that is flowing right through our state. We know that a lot of schools will take on a physical, hands-on project to clean or conserve their local watershed. Missouri is full of different watersheds, both big and small, and most school districts are sitting right in the middle of one. And so a lot of our schools will need resources on how to connect to their watershed and understand who is the person who governs their watershed. That is not very easy to find sometimes, and not something normal that a school would naturally know. So a mentor could be helping just to connect the dots between a school and their local watershed. And then to help cleanup days, because kids are awesome at cleanup. They're so passionate about it and they're also really good at it. And so giving, a large group of students the power to clean and conserve their space and understand why that's important is really a powerful tool. A lot of schools last year and in previous years have already taken on stormwater runoff management projects. And so we know that will also be popular this year because they can do this through landscaping mitigation. And a lot of schools are already doing this with native plants. And so some schools will need mentorship on what type of plants to put in, what type of plants should be taken out if they have some invasive species that are not helping the landscape at all. They might also need some help just analyzing where is this stormwater runoff coming from and why. Do we have a gutter problem? Do we have a building problem? Do we have a landscaping problem? And so understanding how to help mitigate stormwater runoff is extremely important, especially in our state that floods constantly. We also know that schools will take on more of a data approach to their projects. Some schools will stay completely in the building and just look at their water bills. track, and lower their water usage inside and on campus. This is a great project for schools to take on because students can analyze that data and understand it completely on their own. They're very, very good at data analysis. And they're also really good at conserving water once they're really educated on how and why. And then we know schools will take on protection of biodiversity in water habitats because they've done so in the past. And we know that it's a really fun project for kids to learn about sea creatures, river creatures, lake creatures, even the creatures that live in a pond. And so to help make sure that we are protecting those water habitats. All right, so what does the mentor actually do? This is not an inclusive list, but this is just in general. These are the main functions of a mentor. First, every mentor should be meeting with their school leader in September or October to establish a communication schedule, and it can be very light. Some of our mentors will meet once or twice with their schools. Other mentors, they will meet monthly, they will meet weekly. Some of our schools really need help, but no matter what, we only are asking our mentors to give up to 2 hours per month. So if your school needs more than that, that's when the mentor comes to me and says, "Hey, Deborah, my school is really struggling or really needs a resource on this. I've already given a lot of my time and now I need help too." And then I step in because I'm a staff person. This is what I'm paid to do. And so I'm happy to help. Mentors really help focus the project ideas into feasible and specific and achievable things. Kids get super excited, and teachers get excited too about what they can accomplish and what they can achieve in one school year. And the mentor is there to say, "Well, that is an amazing list of 10 ideas. Which one do you want to pursue?" Mentors also help find resources or speakers to help students during their research phases. Guest speakers are so fun, including you, the mentor, as a guest speaker, because kids get kind of tired of seeing their same teachers every day, and they listen a lot when a guest speaker comes in, and guest speakers are just kind of a fun change of pace. It's also a gift to the teacher, usually, to bring in somebody who has expertise and knowledge and is going to be great to their kids. And then finally, the other role the mentor can play is to help the students or the school leader submit their final project. The mentor doesn't need to write the final project, but can certainly help edit or help get students to understand, hey, it's a little vague here. Can we, beef up this part of the submission? So a couple of ways to mentor that have come up in the past and has been extremely effective are simply meeting with the students. Sometimes mentors just meet with the students and the staff at the very beginning of the project and say, "Let's hone in and let's focus on what we are going to do for this project." Providing resources, guest speakers, and your own expertise for sure. Sometimes mentors are physically part of the project, and that is not a requirement. I will say that again. That is not a requirement of mentorship. It's a great bonus if your school is doing a physical project and the mentor wants to be there and wants to, participate. That's great. But if you're not really into digging in the dirt and you don't want to, hang out in the school garden, that's fine. You do not have to do that. Sometimes the school will need help finding a group of volunteers or, something like that, or a community service day. And that's something that the mentor can help with as well. And then always helping students to do their own research, especially on a local level, is very, very important because students really need to feel connected to these projects in order to feel like they're making a difference. And so it needs to be local and it needs to be specific. One of my favorite things that mentors can do is give students a way to present what they've learned. Sometimes that might mean to the mentor's company. We've had the mentors do that before, where they've invited their Green Schools Quest student group to their company to come and present in front of, their own adult speakers, and it's very cool. It's a very special experience for the students. But it also might just mean facilitating students presenting to other students in their classroom, which is a lot more feasible. And then we always invite our mentors to come to the annual Green Schools event so they can help celebrate their students, either in person or virtually. It's also an incredibly fun experience, so we want you to be celebrated as well. Just a rundown of who participated last year. We had 80 schools participate last year. We've had 243 schools participate since 2013, and 59% of those schools are returners. So they keep coming back year after year after year. This image here on the right is exactly the school districts or the private school symbols of the schools who participated last year. The demographics here, you can see that we are socioeconomically, racially, and geographically diverse. But we, in the past, have been very St. Louis heavy. It makes sense because the program started here in St. Louis, but this is a statewide program, and we are pushing very, very hard outside of the St. Louis region and into Southern Illinois and across Missouri. You can also click on this link for the full list of individual schools in case you have a question of, has this school ever participated? Mentors last year, we had 70 mentors. We had 5 schools who participated without a mentor, and we had 5 schools who had a mentor who was shared with another school. We've had 157 mentors participate since 2013, and 46% of those folks come back year after year, which is really incredible. And we're so grateful for our mentors. They're just special people, and they're really good with teachers and with kiddos. The only issue that we've had in demographics with our mentors is that we've only had 10% last year of our mentors were part of a BIPOC community. This is problematic because our mentors need to represent our students, and our student population is extremely diverse across the state and the region of Southern Illinois. And so we want to make sure our mentors look like our students and that we have a more diverse group. So keep that in mind as you're thinking of your colleagues who might be interested in this program, that we are looking for a very diverse and varied bunch of people. This is just a quick plug for how to register. Our mentor registration form is extremely fast and easy. It's about 5 minutes. And you can specify if you want to work with a specific school or school district. You can specify a location. You could say, I only want to work in this zip code, or this city, or whatever. You could also specify if you only want to work virtually with a school. If you're not interested in going to the school physically, that's perfectly fine. And you can also specify the age group that you want to work with. If preschoolers scare the bejesus out of you, I get it. They are really intense and awesome, but also like, whew, they're a lot. So if you would rather work with older kids, or if you really love younger kids, you could specify that. And then you can also very clearly specify if you only want to work on a type of project that you have a specialty in. All right, I'm going to pause there. I gave a lot of information. This is a picture of our annual Green Schools event last year on the steps of the Missouri History Museum. And before I stop recording, I just want to throw up this slide one more time with my contact information for those of you watching the recording, so that you can feel free to either register here or email me or text or call. And with any questions at all, I would love to hear from you and get to know you, and really just find how we can support each other, because you've got some great ideas and great programs and great expertise. So I'll stop sharing here, and I am going to stop recording, and then I'll take questions from our live audience. Just give me one moment, please.